You can't say we didn't try. So, again, ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. Again, go ahead and hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, because we're going to get into it tonight. I want to talk to you guys. And again, if you guys saw the last live or saw a clip of the last live, I need you guys to understand this is not about hating people or hating any culture or anybody. All right. It's not about hating women. It's not about attacking Jewish people. It's not about attacking atheists. All right. I just want to ask a serious question here as we dive into this conversation. Okay. So what happens to civilization when it slowly disconnects itself from truth, from responsibility, from family, from morality, accountability, and most importantly, God? What happens to a civilization when you disconnect yourself from those things? That's what I want you guys to think about as we dive into the conversation that we're going to have tonight. What happens to a civilization when you disconnect yourself from those things that I just listed earlier? Because whether people want to admit it or not, America right now, which is a melting pot of cultures, is going through a spiritual, cultural identity crisis right now, and everybody can see it. Whether you're left, whether you're right, whether you're somewhere in the middle, whether you're conservative, whether you're liberal, Republican, Democrat, you can see that there's a spiritual and cultural disconnect going on right here in the United States of America. It's not hard to see. It's not hard to see. If you go on X, Facebook, any of the social medias, you can see the disconnect that's going on currently. It's not a surprise. So when I say these things, I'm not trying to be a fearmonger or scare people into doom and gloom, but I do want to have a conversation and discussion, because a lot of people could see a post online, especially if it's a Facebook post or an X post, and a lot of time people put their own emotion into what they're reading. Okay? And a lot of the time people will disregard the actual message, and their own emotions will take over based on what they're reading, and they will apply an amount of hate based on what they thought they were reading, how they felt, and how they felt. But the reality is they just didn't take it into the right context based on, what it is they read. And it can come off hateful or whatever, but the reality is if you just have a discussion, you realize what I'm saying is not coming from a place of hate. It's coming from a place of research and a place of accountability. How can we hold anybody accountable if we're not willing to have conversations? Especially when we bring up documents and bring up proof of X, Y, and Z. These people are doing this. These people signed off on it. These people took the check. We can look through step by step by step and see what is happening. That doesn't mean that we're doing this from a place of hate. That doesn't mean that we're trying to expose people because we hate them. We're trying to expose what's going on in real time before we miss something and we no longer have a voice and a will to stand up and say so. And we're moving further in the direction to where men especially are not stepping up. So that really does cause an identity crisis. Whether, like I said, whether you want to admit it or not, that's where we are. It's not where we want to be, but it is where we are. I say that all the time. It's not where we want to be, but it is where we are. So how do we fix it? Ladies and gentlemen, how do we fix it? Because I might have certain ideas and answers that might work, but the real question is, what works for you, and how are you going to inspire others to get moving too? Because if you want to be about change, you have to be part of the do. You cannot just be part of the talk. Hands down, you cannot just be part of the talk. If you want to be part of the change, you have to be part of the do. All right? You have to be part of the do. You have to follow the actions, follow the process, follow the people who are making the decisions. And then you will learn something. Instead of getting mad at these people that are doing it, find ways to do said thing better. Make them irrelevant so that way they can no longer do it no more. That's the part a lot of us are missing. And it's really easy. Once you get to working and doing things, it's really, really easy. You just have to really start doing it. Okay? Sipping on that coffee. Got to stay hyped for tonight, you know what I'm saying? Stay woke up so I can get you guys the message. Because the message, I believe, is pretty important. The problem is not that we're too emotionally programmed, all right? We are too emotionally programmed. That's what the propaganda that we see, it's emotional programming. All right, we're too emotionally programmed to have a rational discussion on these topics. That's what's happening. And if we're too emotionally invested and overwhelmed to have actual rational conversation, this is how we, the people, miss things that are happening, whether it's at the federal, the state, the county, the city. We miss these things, and then we end up regretting it later. That's the ultimate truth. That's the reality. Whether we want to admit to it or not, that is the truth. The longer we stay disconnected, the further and further and further they're going to be continuing to push their agenda. So we have to be able to take in truth. All right. Truth has to be the most foundational thing I believe as Americans we should be sitting on. This doesn't have to become a theological conversation. All I'm saying is that truth should be a foundation that every single American should be okay with. It's really, really simple. But the second that you bring in feminism, somebody screams misogynistic, or toxic masculinity. You bring up somebody being an atheist, somebody screams at you that you're anti-science, you don't trust the science. You bring up Zionism, apparently if you just bring up Zionism or even mention it, you're now anti-Semitic. You're not even allowed to have these conversations because you're instantly attacked with labels, isms. And if that's the approach to bringing up truth and bringing up rational or documents and truth, and we can't have a rational conversation, if that's what's going to happen, people are not going to want to engage in said conversations. And it all starts with, I believe, the removal of God. America has been moving in a foundational way for the past 50, 60 years away from God. But whether we want to believe it or not, the entire country itself, the United States of America, was based and built on the foundations that were built from Christianity. We can debate it all day we want. Well, these persons weren't Christian or they weren't. That's not what we're talking about. What we're saying is the foundations. If you read the Gospels, if you read the teachings of Christ, and then you see how America is structured, it's unquestioned. You can't question it. You have a melting pot of all cultures to be able to live as humans. And somehow we decide to keep putting labels and labels and labels and isms. You have to be in this group, but this group has to do this. But if you're part of this group, you can't talk to that group, or you can't be associated with this group anymore. But on this said thing, you can talk to those people only if they feel this way about that topic too. That's where we've gotten to. The mental gymnastics one has to go through to be associated with people's insane. It used to just be, hey man, I think you're an idiot on this said topic. And that was it. That was it. It was simple, item by item. On said item A, you're an idiot. On said item B, I think you're a genius. That doesn't mean that I hate you. That just means I'm not going to go to you for this type of advice. It's really simple. That doesn't mean that I hate you, that I'm mean, or that I'm mad. It's just, you may not be the guy that I'm going to go to discuss policy. But if I want to talk to you about dirt bikes and fixing the engine, you're going to be my guy. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But you got to understand that doesn't mean that I hate you because you don't understand policy. That does not mean that I hate you because you don't understand policy. But if you're saying some emotional nonsense on policy and it sounds stupid, I'm going to say, hey, man, that's ridiculous. That sounds stupid because that's not how the process works. It's truth. It's the truth. The truth shall set you free, ladies and gentlemen. For generations, ladies and gentlemen, for generations, America was not perfect. It never will be perfect, but there's no better place. All right, there's no better place. Let's be honest. There's no better place. It may not be perfect, but there's no better place. I mean, let's be honest now. People are sealing themselves in shipping containers and doing the damnedest just to get a piece and a slice of what we have here. There's no better place than it. No one's coming to save us, okay? It's as good as it's ever gonna get and been. And it's up to the people to maintain and fight for that and keep it free before the powers that be pull it all away and give it to foreign interest or whoever wants to invest in their said project. That's the truth. It used to be for the people, not for the investor. Okay? It used to be for the people, and the people are the main stakeholders, because without the people, everything falls apart. There's a lot more of us than there are of these people that are in these positions. Okay? There's a lot more of us in one freaking state than there are in these people that are in positions of power. Period. Period. So you have to understand the amount of power that you as the people do have. That doesn't mean that you go around tearing down buildings and all that. What I'm saying is get into the books, learn the process, learn the language that they're using, the verbiage. It's very, very simple, because once you see what it is they're actually trying to push through and say, a lot of it's just fluff. A lot of it is just fluff, and they can't do anything with it, but they're trying to manipulate you and propagandize your mind into self-segregating, self-censoring. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to implement community guidelines in real life. So think about it from that perspective. They're trying to implement these social media community guidelines in real life. And once you realize that's the trick that they're trying to play against you in their verbiage and their wording, you got to go back to the Constitution and go back to the federal laws. You are protected. And I don't care what anybody's going to say, and you can dislike my position on this, but all speech is protected under the First Amendment. That includes, quote unquote, hate speech. You don't have to like it, but it is a protected category. Okay? Period. Period. It is protected. If I want to call said person a name, that is my right to do so. Because at the end of the day, the word itself did not cause any physical harm. You have to recognize that. You have to recognize that. What you decide to do based on what you hear, those words themselves, that's actionable. That is up to you. That's a decision that you make. But at the end of the day, that old saying, I am rubber, you are glue, whatever you say bounces off of me, blah, 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 blah. You know that whole thing? It's so true. Because I don't care what it is people want to say. I can be the ism, the fascist, the Nazi, whatever they want to call me. They can call me all the things. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It don't matter. It's just words. It's just words. They have no effect on me. They can call me whatever they want to. They have no effect. So at the end of the day, we have to understand that these are individual humans too, and that we are being affected by their failures, their wrongdoings, their decisions. And if we don't step up now when we can, while we still can, we're going to be getting arrested in states like people in Florida who are getting arrested for Facebook posts. That is insane. Okay, that is insane. Especially if it's not even a threatening, like a direct threat. We're not going to get into specifically who is guiding that one, but you guys know the story. And if you don't know the story, I encourage you guys to look it up, because these are true and real things that are happening in the United States of America. In the United States of America. Just because they think they can tweak definitions under federal guidelines and rules here and there does not mean that it actually holds up. It has to be constitutional. Okay? If they cannot just be trampling all over your rights just because you said you don't agree with the war. That's not an excuse for them to do surveillance on you as an American citizen. And you should not be like, well, I'm not doing anything anyway, so why does it matter? Because this is not China. This is not communist Russia. At the end of the day, this is the United States of America. And as much as we like to glorify our police officers and the feds and all these people in power, at the end of the day, it is my right as an American citizen to tell them to F off, to tell them, I don't care, be gone. Unless I have committed a crime, I don't have to talk to you. And unless you can show probable cause of the crime that I am either committed, about to commit, or proof that I've done it, I don't have to talk to you. Period. I ain't got to say nothing to you. I don't care if you say, I'm the law. I don't have to say a word to you. Period. And you are protected under your constitutional rights, and they have to work with that. But people are so willing to just give them all the information because they want to be the glorified snitch. Because in today's culture, being the glorified snitch has been apparently, makes you a hero. But at the end of the day, all you're doing is giving more and more power to the system. You're not giving that power to the individual cops and stuff that you like. That's not what's happening. What you're doing is giving that power and control to the system. The cops that you like are just the ones that are enforcing that system and stuff that you gave them willingly. Period. Period. Once you know your rights as an American citizen, everything changes. Everything changes. How you operate, how you navigate. Once you put on that armor of God and you really realize what's at stake and how things are processed and built here, you can be untouchable. You have to play the game better than they're doing. Instead of complaining about them taking all this money from the government and putting it into a NGO and not even using it appropriately, why not do the same thing but do it appropriately? Make them irrelevant so where they can't get that funding anymore. It's really easy to do. It's really, really easy. I could walk you through a whole step and show you exactly how to do it. The problem is the majority of you guys won't do it. You'd rather complain online because everybody's an expert online. One of the comments says, you ever notice how we talk like we talk online, like we use certain replacement words in normal conversations, but it's not even necessary? That's very true. Example, exactly. Because of the community guidelines that have been set out there. We don't realize that we already self-censor ourselves in regular speech because we're so used to the community guidelines. That just shows you how much time we're spending online. When you start memorizing the community guidelines online, that's how you know you spent too much time online. I think that's pretty safe to say. If you start knowing the community guidelines by heart, you spent too much time online. I'm just going to call how I see it. If you could memorize the community guidelines, you've probably been online too long. Go touch some grass. Eat a bug. I don't know what to tell you. do something, but yeah. We gotta break through this trap. It's a mind trap, and they're playing. But we got to get through this because there's no way that our kids are going to have any hope at a future if we just continue on with the status quo. I mean, come on now. How has the status quo been beneficial to any of us lately? I mean, I'll wait. Oh, I know. Because we're not benefiting from what's going on right now. It doesn't matter if it's in the federal, if it's in the state, if it's in the county. Nobody is benefiting from chaos. Except for the military-industrial complex. They're booming right now. But ladies and gentlemen, that's a whole conversation for another day. It's a whole conversation for another time because at the end of the day, we do know the MIC has been in the works since the Rothschilds have came into fruition. This is just an ongoing thing that continues to perpetuate throughout the cycle. And people have been documenting this and showing what their plan is. And every time they show their plan, they say that you're one of the ist or the isms. They try to shut down the plan. And then they go and fulfill the plan and do the plan and still call you an ist or ism for calling it out. It's the most wildest mental game I've ever seen. Thomas Massie is a perfect example. A perfect example. As soon as Thomas Massie lost the primary, AIPAC and all these other PACs for Israel were first to be so proud of how much they helped and influenced that election. But had he lost, they wouldn't have had anything to do with it. It's funny how they will admit to doing it while they win. And we're supposed to look the other way. Yeah, we had a hand in your election. We don't care. We don't care. What you gonna do about it? What you gonna do about it? Marion Adelson sitting back with that. She just cutting checks. 30 million for you. 30 million for you. You get this. She like Oprah. You get 30 million. I want that ass. You get 30 million. I want the West Bank. You get 30 million. I want them cheeks, baby. Come on. She just cutting checks. She cutting checks for cheeks. And she gonna get them cheeks, ladies and gentlemen. She gonna get them cheeks. I'm not the one trying to cash in on the check. I'm just saying this is what's happening. All right, this is what's happening. And if you don't call it out in 2020, if you don't call it out and you see it as wrong, you don't call it out, something's wrong with you. You got to wake up. We got to be able to call this stuff and this ain't right. And at the end of the day, what are they going to do? Because when you stand up on truth, there ain't nothing they can do. There's not a damn thing they can do when you stand on truth. Because like I've said before, and I'm going to say it again from the words of Papa Nero, if I lay it out there, the full truth, no bull, whatever happens is meant to happen. Good or bad, that outcome is supposed to happen because it was the outcome of truth. Period. Period. So if what happens after the full truth comes out, then that's meant to happen. But you can't be hiding the truth from coming out. That's the whole problem. You can't be stopping people from looking into what we're paying for. As a stakeholder in my country, I have a right to know what my government is doing, how much money they're spending on said project, how it's being diversified, how is the outcomes, what's the process look like, what are the stats? I want to know. I want to know, is this beneficial to the United States? If it is not, why are we even discussing it? Because like I told you guys the other day, when I have people eating out of trash cans here in my own city, and I know it's like that in many other cities here in the United States right now. We got 13-year-old kids on the street eating out of trash cans right now. That is the truth. But we got all this money to send over there for this, I don't even know what you want, this mess. 80% of our intercepting missiles have been depleted. Go ahead and fact check it. You can check it out. It's real. The Army Times just did a post about this the other day. 80% of our intercepting missiles have been depleted in this chaos. That's real. That is real, ladies and gentlemen. That should concern everybody. That should concern everybody. 80% of our intercepting missiles, but we're worried about other places shooting missiles at us. So we got rid of 80% of our... I don't even understand how this logically, like... Anyways, that's about 30 minutes, you guys. That's about all I got for tonight. It's been fun. I gotta go reset my brain. But we'll come back soon. And we'll talk about some more stuff because I really want to get into these conversations and topics more deep. I gotta wrap my head around how I want to do this because, you know, it's one thing to have a lot of answers and to know what to do during chaos. But at some point, I'm kind of getting sick and tired of just living through chaos. And if we just look back at the last 10 years alone, it's just been chaos the last just 10 years. It's just been straight chaos. So if you guys are out there, reach out, send us an email, leave us a comment, but reach out and send us an email if there's something that you guys are interested in talking about or interested in me diving into. All right, it's really easy. You guys can there's two ways. There's two ways, okay? Why don't I show you guys the easiest of the ways first? Because I think if you guys take a look, leave a comment, that's the easiest way. Tell us what you want us to talk about, right? That's the easiest way. Leave a comment because we can see the comments. But if you haven't, go to the website that we have, allinadays.com. And there's a way right there for you guys to reach out to us. It looks like this, allinadays.com. And you'll see our business line. But look at that. You can book a meeting. You guys can send donations to help us keep our mission going. There's a little information about what we do, the little donation box. Look at that. But if you just scroll down to on the page, there's options there for you guys to reach out. It's really, really easy. We have programs. Click on that program page right there. Boom. You can look at that. Interested in the mentorship meeting? Look, all you got to do, drop us a line, put your name, what you're interested in, put some notes, and click send. It'll take you right to your email. Again, this is the email, allinadaysworkal@gmail.com. If you guys want to use direct email, I want you guys to put attention Becca, and she'll make sure that she gets the email thread to us. That way we can weed out the trolls. We know who's serious. All right, but that's the email right there, allinadaysworkal@gmail.com. You guys can go to the website. The website's even easier. It's allinadays.com. Boom. That's our stuff, you guys. Look, go there, go check it out, see what we're doing. Go get yourself a bag of coffee, too. Look, we got coffee on there. I'm picking up a batch. I'm picking up a batch of coffee. So go on and get you some of that fresh work roast. Look at that good stuff. A 1 pound bag of the goodness. And look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Looking good, too. Look at that good stuff. That's how you guys can help support this mission. This is different than most other things. You guys can support it right here. Get yourself a bag of this coffee to help keep us going as we continue to yeah, it looks like that. Now, boom. As we continue to fight this good fight here against the evil in the world. All right. The good thing about our nonprofit is we do not try any way, shape, or form to ask the people that we are serving for any money. We just do the work. That's the beautiful part. I raise money in various different ways, whether it's working my part-time job or selling the bags of coffee, doing a DJ gig here on the side, whatever we got to do to raise money, but we don't ever have to ask the families and the kids for any money for the services that we're providing. So that's where this goes from. And we also do not receive any funding or any grants. We just do it all from street level working. That's how it's all about right there. So get involved, book a meeting, reach out to us. It's really easy, really, really easy. I encourage you guys to do it as soon as you guys can, because what are you waiting for? You want to get involved. If you really want to get involved, I can show you and we can actually get you guys going. If you're serious, so many people talk, but are you ready to walk? I got a cane. I'll get you a walking stick. Get you a scooter. We're going to get you moving, is what I'm trying to say. We'll get you moving. We'll find a place for you. We will find a place for you. But before we go, let's take a look back to our archive and see where we first started. Huh? Shall we? Why not?
Dylan O'Connor, Government Affairs Director with Alliance for Government.
Well, we are a few weeks into the new school year, and down in Lacey, local veterans are putting safety into their own hands.
Fox 13's Nia Wong spoke to the man leading independent patrols outside schools in the North Thurston School District.
Anthony Triplett has become a familiar face around North Thurston School District campuses.
This is kind of where we are right now as a society, and I want to do my part to help out.
Not just because his daughters attend these schools, but because he's taken it upon himself to patrol around schools like Evergreen Forest Elementary School with veteran Overwatch.
I want to be identified so they know, and because the resource officers know who I am, there's no confusion.
Armed with a Glock 23 and his canine companion, Jade.
Good girl. No. And I'll make rounds at different schools to make a presence known.
He says he tries to do this 4 hours a day, changing his routes. This father and veteran founded Veteran Overwatch and began patrolling 2 weeks after the school massacre in Uvalde, Texas. He says the community response has been overwhelmingly positive.
Everyone has been extremely grateful, nice.
The North Thurston School District is aware of Triplett and Veteran Overwatch, telling Fox 13 News he is operating on a public street and as a private citizen. The district says security measures, safety drills, and response plans are in place, including 4 school resource officers. Triplett says he knows them well.
And I'll share a message with them in the morning. Hey, I'm going to be around this school today at this time. If you need me, I'll be here, and vice versa.
Triplett believes he can bridge the response time.
And it can take about 20 minutes if there's a real incident for the next officer to arrive.
Dylan O'Connor, Government Affairs Director with Alliance for Gun Responsibility, doesn't believe this is a good idea.
There's no data anywhere to suggest that the presence of firearms in or around a school does anything to mitigate gun violence. It only increases it.
Regardless of intent, he doesn't feel this is safe and will be tracking the situation.
So I'd be curious to think what some of the students feel like what's happening around their school rather than general support in the community.
Triplett says Veteran Overwatch is made up of at least 6 community members and 4 other veterans, including Derek Sanders, a candidate running for Thurston County Sheriff.
Now I'm gonna go ahead and pause that right there because that ain't come to fruition like we hoped it would. But that's where we started. And now we're working full mentorship and doing real things with our program. Actually, I love it more now because we got an actual full-fledged accountability program. That's where I think you guys will come into play. So if you guys want us to help document some concerns and incidents, timelines, identifying patterns of concern, structured recommendations, go ahead and send us an email. All you got to do is click on that red button and it'll show you guys exactly, look at that right there. Boom, on the program page. Right there, Community Accountability Program. That's where you guys are going to want to get into touch with the real nitty gritty. All right. So you want to reach out to us, click on that. It'll send us an email and we'll get right on it. Again, ladies and gentlemen, it has been an awesome, a lot of fun, kind of fun, somewhat fun, something like that. I had a good time. Hope you guys had some too. So I'll see you guys in the not so distant future. Becca, let's close it out. Love you guys. Take care. Peace, y'all.